welcome everyone to this week's Superintendent Spotlight. This week my guest, and I appreciate you taking the invitation on short notice, is Coach Alan Harris. Not only is he a football coach here, he's also a special education teacher, and he is now, I believe I can say officially, our school SRO. But with that, I want people, some may know more than others, but I've seen some interviews with the big one that you've given some of your background. But if you don't care, could you share a little bit of your background with us, and especially we're focusing on law enforcement background.
I was in the military for 5 years, in the National Guard for 12 years, and then after coming out of the military, I joined the London Police Department in 2000. I worked with them from 2000 to 2013. During that, prior to that, I was also a corrections officer at the Laurel County Detention Center. But during my tenure there, I was a road unit sergeant, detective sergeant. Then I was in charge of criminal investigations and the Major Crimes Task Force for a few years towards the end of my career there before I decided to go into teaching and coaching.
Yeah, well, and I have a similar pathway as far as with me getting into education. I had an accounting degree, and then I decided that I really enjoyed coaching and working with kids, and so I went back and pursued and got option 6. I got an alternative certification, and then I was able to work. But I know that is not easy, but I know that was tough on you as well, as you were working at the same time as you were achieving your education certification, correct?
I was 35 years old when I started working on my bachelor's, and I got it in a couple of years, and then I went straight into my master's, and now I'm working on my 3rd master's.
Well, and I think that's important because a lot of people out there want to get into coaching and do things, but they don't realize that there's a lot of sacrifices that takes. But you did not know at that time that this education pathway may lead you back into the law enforcement avenue.
You had a spot open this year for the CLEO SRO position, and you know my background and approached me about it, and the more I thought about it, the more it appealed to me, and here we are.
Well, I think it's been a really, really good fit. Now, they have changed some things up. We were one of the first around to start with to bring SRO into the school. Formed our own police office, and then we went to where we had a SLEO, I guess is what we transformed. But now the state, if you don't care, tell us the process that we've gone through this year. And by the way, I just wanted, you have gone through recertification and everything.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that maybe just a little bit later. But we have now actually have our own police office, or police force.
Yes.
Here. It's Pineville Independent School Board Police Department.
Pineville Independent Police Department.
Okay, Pineville Independent, and you are the chief.
You are the deputy.
And the deputy. So explain to us about who you speak to and how we get that accreditation.
In order to get that accreditation, there's several steps and processes you got to go through at the academy for the state academy, and then you got to go through state police, and the state police will review your application, then they'll grant you an ORI, and that's just typically your police agency number. And a lot of schools across the state have started doing this, so they've made the process a little bit easier. But it's a process. I mean, it's taken us February is when we started ours, so it's taken us a few months to get all the paperwork in correctly and stuff. But you have to be a certified police officer, of course, to be an SRO here. And I feel like in the future that the SRO position is going to grow, and probably get some federal funding down the line where we'll have more SROs in the school besides just myself, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great thing for our school and our community and our kids. It's prior to us being a police department, you could have a SLEO in the school, and I'm not knocking anybody that
a SLEO is Special Law Enforcement Officer.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking anybody that wants to be a SLEO, but you didn't have to be police academy trained. You didn't have to have a POP certification to be in that position. And I feel like that it's such an important position that you need the proper training to.
Yes, I agree.
Those situations.
I agree. And talk to us a little bit about that training, because I know that you were basically a retired law enforcement officer, but you had to go back and renew everything, and you did that
That was a challenge.
successfully, and you had a year within to do that, but you got that done quickly. But you're going in there with much of those young pups and going through the training and the
one of
testing.
the classes, a patrol level class that you must go through if you've been out more than 3 years as a police officer. It's just basic officer skills. But I had to go back and do defensive tactics, high-speed pursuit training in vehicles, defensive tactics again, firing range, stuff that's for young guys. And I was quite proud of myself. You know, I was a little worried going in because once I got there, I realized that the standard was high still, and you know, it wasn't just I'm showing up to get refresh. You actually had to do everything. So by the end of the week, I was kind of proud of myself for hanging in with the young pups and getting through that. So that was just one part of getting recertified. But I had to go through 140 hours.
Yeah.
Of training.
So there's a lot of sacrifice to take. You did a lot of sacrifice to go from law enforcement and education, and then from education back into law enforcement. But you're sort of more versatile now because you hold both certifications. So we really appreciate you going through that. I know it wasn't easy. But we're glad. We feel like we've got the right person because it's not, you know, SRO is a different position. You got to be able to talk to kids and relate to kids and work with them than it is out on, you know, on the street if you're a police officer. So it takes a certain personality, I think, to be able to be successful in that. And you've done a great job, and we're grateful for your efforts.
Well, I'm grateful also. You know, growing up, when I was a young man, there was only 3 things I wanted to be in my life, and one of them was a football coach, the other one was a police officer, and the other one was a school teacher. So I'm getting to live all that right now. So it's a blessing, and I really enjoy being here. I love working with kids, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate you bringing your talent and your effort to Pine. There's nothing that I've ever asked. You may see Coach Harris sometimes. He may be out mowing the grass out in the front yard, and that's it. And it does. You've never hesitated to jump on any task that I've asked for help doing, and I greatly appreciate that, as well as making sure that you keep our schools safe. And I do want everyone to know, and I think this is important for them to get to know you because we're trying to create and. We are attempting to be the safest school that we can possibly be. And I think we've taken all the measures that we need to. We've made the right investments, and I feel like we have a very secure school here, and their kids are safe coming here, and they can come here in an environment where they feel safe and capable of learning to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, it's important that when a student's in the building, and the teachers and the staff, that they feel safe here, and that's my goal. You know, at the end of the day, we want everybody to be safe and feel welcome here, and Pineville does a great job of that anyway. Long before I got here, so I just come in and try to keep that standard. So
well, we're very pleased to have you, and glad you're here, and appreciate all your efforts again. And that will do us for this week's Superintendent Spotlight.